YouTube fans, Ricky V here with another tech video. In this video, I want to talk about why I believe that Intel and Apple will continue their holy matrimony. This was motivated by the fact that I've seen a lot of reports online where people are trying to spread rumors or show rumors that AMD is going to be the next CPU provider for Apple computers. And also on the rumor sites, they've started saying that Apple will start using their custom ARM or ARM chips and start putting those into their Mac PC lineup. And although there is some code in macOS Catalina to show this, I seriously doubt this is going to happen for a little while. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why I believe Apple and Intel will continue to be working together in matrimony. Let's get started. The first reason is the deep integration of Intel's hardware acceleration known as Quicksync into the Mac OS operating system. And if we look online, we can see that some of the apps that Apple themselves have developed, like iMovie or Final Cut Pro, use Intel's Quicksync to hardware decode and encode certain codecs. And then one more thing with this hardware acceleration, HEVC or H.265 support. That started with Skylake processors. And when did Intel add HEVC or H.265 support to their processors? Skylake. That's when you're able to decode or encode these codecs as well, using Intel's Quicksync technology in the Mac operating system. But this gets me thinking about 10-bit or VP9 support. When is Apple gonna add it to their Mac lineup? When Intel decides to add it to their CPUs? And that also leaves us with a little bit of thoughts as we transition into reason number 2. Reason number 2, the stability of the Mac operating system. We all have seen the jokes in the past where Apple was making fun of Windows XP, Windows 2000, ME, and maybe even Windows Vista or 7. But as a Windows and Mac user, we all know that both operating systems are very stable and have their reasons for being used. Now, Apple did switch CPU manufacturers back in 2006 and go to Intel from PowerPC. I don't know if any of you remember those chips that ran so hot that on the Power Mac G5, Apple had to put a custom water loop in it just to keep the machine running cool. Yeah, that was an interesting transition period. And it led to a lot of updates having to come out in the Mac operating system code to alleviate some of these problems. Now, with updates, they were able to alleviate the code problems, but it did take quite a while. And I don't know if Apple's ready to go through that process again. And I can also bring up how Catalina is the first Mac operating system to completely drop 32-bit support. But to Apple's defense, they did let us know that they were doing this as early as High Sierra, which was 2 years ago. And it took them 2 years to complete the process. So if we're seeing AMD code in the Mac operating system for CPUs and APUs, looking at this logic, we could come to the conclusion that it's probably going to take at least 2 years for a AMD CPU to be inside of a Mac computer or even an ARM-based CPU. And that's reason number 2. So now let's transition to reason number 3. Now on to reason number 3. And if you were a company that just released 2 new computers last year that you had to re-engineer or dedicate a bunch of time to engineering these, the 2019 Mac Pro, brand new computer, and the 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro, brand new computer as well. This begs the question, if you were a major corporation and you just invested time, engineering, and dollars into creating these computers for your customers, why would you all of a sudden jump ship to a brand new socketed CPU and manufacturing process and motherboard and RAM support and all those other things when you've spent all this time and energy already doing that for a certain manufacturer of CPUs? Thus, that's the third reason why I believe that Apple and Intel will continue their holy matrimony. Alright, YouTube fans, so I've given you the 3 reasons why Apple and Intel will continue that holy matrimony. All jokes aside, the 3 reasons are: 1, the deep OS integration of Intel's Quicksync hardware acceleration on the Mac OS operating system. 2, the stability that they want to keep for the Mac OS operating system. And 3, they've spent a lot of money, time, and engineering into making these brand new computers that use Intel CPUs. It wouldn't make sense for them to just jump ship and go to AMD or ARM at this time. Now on to my final thoughts. As an AMD fanboy, yes, I am an AMD fanboy. The first computer I ever built had a AMD socketed CPU. And I love that computer. I kept it for 5-6 years. I never upgraded it because it did everything I needed it to do. Do I want to see Apple and AMD make a holy matrimony as well? Yes, I would. I just don't count on it happening anytime soon. But when it does happen, I'm sure all the fanboys like me will go, great. And the reason for that is because of Ryzen kicking so much you-know-what out there in the world. The Ryzen CPUs and the Threadripper CPUs are just tearing Intel to shreds. Core for core, clock for clock, IPC for IPC. Ryzen is the new thing right now, and it would behoove Apple to make that move if they foresee that AMD is going to continue to keep that foothold with the Ryzen and the Threadripper chips. There you have it, my 3 reasons why Apple and Intel will continue their holy matrimony and keep working together for the foreseeable future. And as always, my YouTube fans, I trust you all learned something and enjoyed watching this video. And that's a cut.